Hey guys, I'm Whitney and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm so excited that you're here. I just wanted to make a quick video for you guys in the comfort of my room to tell you a little bit about who I am and what I'm hoping to accomplish with this channel and sort of what my message is so that you know what to expect. So before we get started, make sure to subscribe to my channel, like this video, and follow me on Instagram, Facebook, go to my website. I would love to have you on this ride with me, so I can't wait, and let's go ahead and get into it. So to start, my name is Whitney Catalano. I am a registered dietitian. I live in Los Angeles, and I specialize in intuitive eating and an anti-diet approach to health. I also work in a doctor's office in functional medicine, but I really wanted to dedicate this channel and sort of all of my social media to intuitive eating and anti-diet. This is a topic that's really personal for me, and I want to help people who have struggled with dieting their whole life. The pressure to diet and be thin and keep up with whatever nutrition information is popular or whatever fad diet is popular at the time is a lot. It requires a lot of energy, a lot of emotional stress, and it can become really unhealthy and disordered. And that's what my message is all about. Empowering yourself to be free from dieting and be free from what diet culture teaches us, which is you're only valuable if you take up less room. And that's just not true. So I'm going to explain a little bit about that for you guys and why I got into this, because this is a really personal thing for me. So I have struggled my whole life with binge eating and chronic dieting. I started treating emotions with food when I was very young. I remember eating a lot of food for an adult as a kid, even before I had any awareness of what I was doing. I was obsessed with fast food when I was dealing with emotional things, and I was kind of coming into this bigger body in like the most stressful time, which is middle school. And it was just a lot. I didn't really realize it, but I do remember the moment where that sort of lens shifted from, oh, this is just who I am, I don't really have any self-awareness, to, oh wow, I have a lot of self-awareness and I have a lot of shame. And that shame is really what gets in there and sort of changes the way that you see things and makes your perspective unhealthy and harmful to yourself. So I was in, I want to say 8th grade. I didn't really understand that I looked different than my friends. I was kind of going about it like, this is weird, I don't really understand how boys work, and I don't really understand like what I'm doing, and why girls are so mean, and I don't understand it. And it was a lot. And my parents had gotten a divorce, and we had a lot of family drama, and it was just a lot. This is a really difficult time. Your emotional centers are developing, and it's just like everything is ending. But for the most part, I didn't have any shame yet. And then I bought this dress with my mom to go to this wedding, and I was really excited to wear this dress. I mean, looking back, it was hideous, but this is the early 2000s, so what can you do? So like the people who were getting married, it was like my godmother's kids, and everyone in that family I just look up to so much. They're all older than me, and I grew up with them, and I just really respect and admire all of them. So we get to the rehearsal dinner, and I don't remember much about the rehearsal dinner, but what I do remember is looking around and realizing, oh wow, I look really different than all the other girls here. Everyone else is really thin, really beautiful, really just confident or seemingly confident. And I felt different. And I was like, wow, maybe I'm bigger. And maybe it's a bad thing. The next day, we were getting ready for the wedding, and I put on my dress, and I hated it, and I hated how I looked in it, and I was like, oh my gosh, this dress that I liked so much, I don't like anymore. I think it looks terrible on me. Like, I hate my body. I don't understand why I look like this, why I don't look like them. I was so upset about it. I made it through the wedding, but I was really, really fixated on this idea of like, how did I not know that I looked this horrible? Like, these are the things that I was saying to myself. I went to my mom a couple days after the wedding, and I was like, Mom, I look different than everyone else. And she was like, okay, like, what do you want to do about it? And I was like, I want to go on a diet. I want you to help me go on a diet. In like the most loving, she means so well. She was like, wow, we've been waiting for you to come to us about this, your father and I. We didn't want to pressure you into anything. I can help you. Let's do this. We'll go to Jenny Craig, and we'll go to your first meeting, get you all signed up, and it's going to be great. And this is going to be awesome. I'm so glad that you want to do this. Which, love my mom. She has been so supportive in everything that I do. This is just a part of the story, and I've talked to her about this before too. She's from a different generation that's really, really affected by diet culture and by women being told how you should look, how you should dress, like all of it to please a man. We'll get into that at a later date, where all this stuff comes from. But she's just from a different culture and a different upbringing and a different conversation, and she didn't know, you know, she was just perpetuating what we all think to be true, which is the thinner you are, the better. And it's just not true. I hope that if you learn anything from me, it's that it's not true. So at this point, not only was I feeling a lot of shame about my body, I was having this message reinforced to me that yes, it's a good thing that you want to be smaller, and it's a bad thing if you're bigger. This is what all of society is telling us, and it was reinforced to me by everyone. You know, I would tell people, I was 14, and I would tell people that I was on a diet, or I'd tell people I was on Jenny Craig. And I remember, you know, the first diet is always the best. And a lot of the time it does work, that first diet, because you've never done it before. You're like, this is gonna work because everyone tells me it's gonna work, and I just have to stick to it. And so I was on Jenny Craig, and I didn't learn anything about health or nutrition. I just knew I had to eat my meals, eat my salads, and, you know, keep track of my calories, and I was good to go. And I would lose all this weight. And I remember running around school freshman year of high school being like, I'm gonna be skinny. I can't wait to be skinny. Like, I'm so excited. So I lost all that weight. And then what happens? You put it back on, and then I try every other program, like Weight Watchers and like all these different things. I tried, you know, restricting and all of that. And nothing works quite like that first diet, and it never will. And it's always that first diet that's going to send you on a cascade down just the rabbit hole of diet culture and feeling ashamed of your body and thinking that it's your fault that you couldn't diet properly, even though there's so many things wrong with dieting. Diets just don't work. But I was really convinced. I was like, that first one worked, they're gonna work, it's gonna be great, you know, it'll be fine. I didn't learn anything about my body. Nothing was working. I was putting all the weight back plus more, and I was just feeling ashamed and totally down on myself. Fast forward senior year, I ended up, you know, learning a lot about nutrition, ended up losing the weight again and getting to, you know, roughly the body that I am now. This is, I consider to be my set point, because I don't have to work to maintain this, and I know my fluctuations. Set points, for those of you who don't know, are exactly what I just said. It's the weight that your body likes to be at. It can change in your lifetime. It's not always going to be the same, and especially dieting, it can cause your body to sort of shut off important mechanisms involved in, you know, metabolism and the way that it stores nutrients, because if you're dieting chronically, your body thinks that it's starving. And so it really goes into this like shuts down, I have to preserve everything, we're in a famine or something like that. You know, it's our bodies like instinctively fighting against this diet, because at the end of the day, we need to eat. That's kind of my little spiel on that. We'll talk a lot more about what dieting actually does to the body, but just wanted to give you guys a little background on that. So from my first diet at 14 all the way till when I was in college, and I was really aggressively restricting for events, you know, for different things, because I was so insecure in my body. I was looking for validation in anyone who would give it to me. I was obsessively tracking my calories on, you know, various apps. I was eating protein bars like it was the only food I was allowed to have. And I wasn't eating like vegetables really, like I kind of was, because I was starting nutrition. I knew vegetables were important, but I also like didn't know how to do all of this yet. I dabbled weight loss pills, which are just horrible. They make you feel so uncomfortable and like you're about to have a heart attack at 20, which is just anything that makes you feel like you're gonna have a heart attack at 20, like don't do it. It's just not a thing. Like don't do that. They made me go insane, like literally feel like I was paranoid and I was anxious and I was depressed and I would have these crazy mood swings. And all for what? Just to stand in the mirror and continue to criticize myself and pick apart my body and burst out into tears in front of all my friends because I was so miserable by the way that I looked. It's just so sad, the things that we do to our body because we think we need to fix it, and we think that shaming our bodies is gonna be how we're gonna fix it, if that makes sense. It's even this idea of like fixing it, you know? You have nothing to fix, your body's beautiful, but you know, as women and men experience this too, like our whole culture is obsessed with fixing yourself and like making yourself perfect and pretty and thin and all of these things. This whole thing is so flawed and it's so consumer driven because they're just looking to make a profit and looking to get repeat customers. Part of that is we just accept these lies that are told to us that we need to look a certain way when really you don't. For those of you who have ever dieted, especially if it's become unhealthy mentally for you, I just want to say that you're not alone. I hear you, I see you, I'm happy to talk to you, and this is something that you can stop. It's going to take active and conscious unlearning of everything that you've learned about dieting in your body up until this point, but it is possible. I just wanted to run through sort of a few bullet points on what I've learned and some of the topics that you can expect me to be talking about in great length on this channel. So all of these things that I've learned about my body and dieting and my particular things when it comes to my unhealthy mentality around food and my body have come from doing this intuitive eating work, doing body image work with myself, like really investigating what are my biases, what are my beliefs, and how can I pick them apart because they're not serving me. And it's a very emotional, stressful process, but oh man, it is so much better on this side, let me tell you. So, I mean, the first thing that I learned was when I was in school to be a dietitian, I was still so desperately trying to diet in a way that was healthy. And so my focus became on health. I had totally convinced myself that I had all these food sensitivities and that things were causing me to bloat, that carbs made me feel gross. And so I don't eat carbs. And they just weren't. And it's like, that had nothing to do, they didn't make me feel gross. You know what made me feel gross was my thought process around the carbs. So when I would eat carbs, I would feel so guilty and ashamed. And then I would like make myself sick by all the things that I would say to myself. That's what made me feel sick. It's not the carbs. It's like, it's the thoughts behind it and the beliefs we have about the carbs. So that's one thing that I really had to stop myself from continuing. Especially now I still catch myself doing it on occasion, you know, those old thoughts sort of creep in and I'm like, no, Whitney, we don't do this anymore, but thank you so much for, you know, peeking your head in and reminding me why I'm in the field that I'm in. We don't do this anymore. Goodbye. I don't need these thoughts. I realized that I used the words good and bad to describe food a lot. I'm not saying in the intuitive eating approach that there are not healthier and less healthy foods. There's no doubt about that. But the point where it becomes disordered and unhealthy in our minds is when we say, I ate these healthy foods and that makes me good, and my value, my worth is dependent on the type of foods that I ate. So if I have a bad day and I eat all these bad foods, then I'm bad today, and then tomorrow I'm gonna be good. This kind of thinking just reinforces this idea that our worth is directly tied to food. That's just not true. It's not true. You can enjoy your life. So the next big thing I learned was about my particular binge eating tendencies. The first one is a very common trigger with dieting, and it's just simply a physiological response to deprivation. When you are starving yourself, restricting important nutrients from your body will go into autopilot, will kick your ego out of it and say, all right, you are not helping us. So like, we got to do this on our own. And you will end up eating everything in your fridge, standing up in like 4 seconds flat, and then hating yourself and hating your body. I see this all the time with my clients. It's not your fault. It's the diet's fault. Like, it is the diet. It is not your fault. Your body is trying to save you. The second reason that I tend to binge eat is this Last Supper phenomenon. For those of you who've been on a diet, you know what I'm about to say. You're going on a diet tomorrow, so tonight you're gonna eat everything and anything in sight. What this binge is driven by is an actual genuine belief that you will never have these foods again, which is just not true. You will have these foods again. Part of what I do with my clients is going through this thought process and saying, why can you never have these foods again? Like, can you have them again? And then it's always like, yeah, I guess I could. And then that switch flips. You're like, oh wait, I don't need to eat however many restricted food. It's just because I think I'm never gonna eat food again. Like, I'm gonna have food. This is life. Unless you die tomorrow, you're probably gonna eat food again. So like, who cares? What is the pressure to eat all this food, except that we, again, have tied these foods to being bad, and we're like, okay, this diet is the start of me being good and I'm never gonna be bad again. It's all in your mind. Another thing I learned is that I talk about my body a lot, or I talked about my body a lot. This is something I, again, have actively and intentionally unlearn. It has become completely normal to talk about, obsess, criticize our bodies in front of our friends, in front of our family, in front of literally whoever will listen. It's become this like, if you're not shaming your body, then what's wrong with you kind of thing. And I just realized how toxic this was. I was reinforcing these ideas out loud that I had about my body, which are just untrue. And then looking for people around me to either validate these ideas or make me feel better or whatever it was that I was looking for. So one of the first places you got to start is looking at the way that you talk about things. It's literally just making you feel worse about yourself as if you can shame yourself into changing, which just doesn't ever work. Similarly, I realized how normalized diet talk is. It is perfectly normal to be on a diet these days. If you tell your friends you're on a juice cleanse, people will like congratulate you, pat you on the back, reinforce that this is what you should be doing. Even though juice cleanses, you know, I'm gonna go into that in another video. I have a whole bunch of thoughts on that. This is something that has become so normal. And so then it becomes this pressure of she's better at her diet than I am, or whatever twisted comparison that we have when we all talk about our diet. Why is starving ourselves and trying to like make ourselves smaller and abuse our bodies so normalized? It doesn't make any sense. We should be celebrating each other and helping each other break these habits, not perpetuating them and encouraging and validating people in their attempts to starve. It's not healthy. One of the things I realized is how deeply rooted dieting is in this idea that like, I don't trust my body. And it's kind of crazy if you think about it. Human beings have been around for thousands of years, and we have evolved with the sole purpose of surviving. If you look at any species on this planet, they learn how to feed themselves because our sole intention in this world is to survive and reproduce. Why is it that as humans, we've convinced ourselves that we don't know what we're doing, that we cannot possibly know how to feed ourselves properly, even though we've been doing it our whole lives up until the point that we go on that first diet? And human beings have been doing it forever, literally, since human beings were around. If we were not properly feeding ourselves and if we had not done this, we would not be around. That's the whole thing. Like, that's how evolution works. That's how bodies work. It's inherently about a mistrust. And so part of this and what I do with my clients from the get-go is just learning how to trust our bodies. It does not matter how you look. Achieving that perfect body will never make you happy if you are not just happy in your body. You can trust your body. Your body knows. The minute we stop trying to force it into doing things that are unnatural, the minute we get a little bit of freedom in this whole process, and you can really explore this on a deeper level. And finally, one of the most important things that I learned is you cannot shame or hate your body into changing. This is like such a classic example, but imagine your friend came to you and was like, no, I'm not very happy in my body. I really want to change. And you were like, yeah, you're so ugly. You should definitely change. And like, I can't believe you just ate that restricted food. That's disgusting, and you're disgusting. Like, imagine if someone actually said that to us, and yet we say that to ourselves all the time. It doesn't make any sense, and it's never going to be a good motivator for doing anything about your lifestyle. Hating yourself into a thinner body is never going to work. It's never going to make you happy. It's only going to make you more depressed, more anxious, more obsessed with your body and with food. And I want better for you guys. Like I just, that's what I want, is just to like spread this message, spread this message to everyone, and you know, really reinforce this idea that you deserve to be loved, you deserve to be heard, you deserve to show yourself love and respect and care. Oh, it's just such a journey, and I am with you every step of the way. I'm so excited to be starting this channel. And if you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much. You will be learning a lot more about me, a lot more about these topics on this channel. Let me know in the comments below if you identify with any of this, what you're going through, if you're struggling, because I want to help you. I want to be there for you. And then don't forget to check out my website. I offer a 6-month intuitive eating program that will allow you to find that freedom and stop being so fearful of foods and to love your body. And I'm here with you every step of the way. I love you guys so much already, even though it's just beginning. I'm just beginning my journey on this. So yay! Thanks for joining me. I will talk to you guys soon.